replacement. Budweiser, the great American lager, and Liriano delivers strike one.
But now he's turned into a guy that needs to pitch the contact. A guy that's not out there to strike everybody out. He needs to keep his pitch count a little more manageable.
His best start, his most recent start against the Cardinals in St. Louis. 7 innings, less than 100 pitches, and back-to-back wins for Liriano. A swing and a foul, 1 and 2. Granderson has struggled again this year against left-handers, particularly in his career against Liriano. He simply had a hard time making contact. 17 at bats and 10 strikeouts against Liriano. And there's number 11.
Number 11.
The Twins out in the field have Jason Kubel in left, Denard Span in center, Michael Kadire in right, Ryan Busher in for Joe Creedy at third, Brendan Harris, Nick Punto up the middle, Justin Morno at first, and Jose Morales, the third string catcher on this Twins team, does the catching here this afternoon. One gone, and Placido Polanco hitting for Detroit. Polanco in this series 3 for 8, and that's one game. He got 2 big hits in the extra innings last night to drive in runs in the 14th and 16th innings. 1 strike from Liriano and a foul, 2 strikes. Last night, Polanco drove in what the Tigers thought was going to be the game-winning run with a base hit. The Twins tied it up, and then he did it again in the 16th inning. So Polanco, who last night also struck out 3 times, which is a rarity for him. R.A. Dickey, the losing pitcher, giving up 9 hits in a relief role. Both teams, Mark, used everybody in the bullpen last night. In fact, Armando Galarraga was warming up for the Tigers if the game had gone any longer, and Scott Baker was down in the bullpen for the Twins.
Exactly. A game like last night, when you play a marathon, that is just murder on a bullpen. So both Jim Leland
swinging a miss. Another strikes out. Manny Ramirez coming to the plate in San Diego, and we'll switch our broadcast to the West Coast. Manny Ramirez hitless last night and a home run in his first at bat today in his second game in his return.
There's your fireworks on the 4th of July, Dick.
Marcus Thames, the hitter, with Cabrera rifling a base hit to right center field with 2 outs in the top of the first. Liriano with a couple of strikeouts, now a 2-out base hit, and Marcus Thames at the plate. While we were on the West Coast, here's Cabrera's base hit against Liriano.
He just got a fastball down and away and just rifled it right into right center field. Well, what a great young hitter he is.
1-1 to Thames, and a swing and a miss, 1-2. Now Thames, a dangerous hitter here in this Detroit lineup, particularly against Liriano. He's only faced him 5 times, but he's hit 3 home runs against him.
Yeah, Jim Leland has been really crowing about the return of Marcus Thames. He really adds a lot of pop to the lineup and somebody to hit behind Miguel Cabrera.
1-2 to Thames.
A good slider there.
You talked about Liriano being in transition. Part of that transition is relying more on a changeup that he's developed to try to give him another complementary pitch to the fastball and slider.
Yeah, his fastball and his slider was about all he needed when he was a young pitcher. Now he's had to add that changeup. And there
Got
it is.
him looking. A 2-out base hit, but Liriano strikes out the side in the scoreless first inning. Brought to you by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. And Art Span with a 5-hit night last night. Joe Mauer hitting .390 on the season. Morno, a former MVP. Michael Kadire in right field. And the Twins hope to bounce back after a frustrating loss last night. And now today's Sprint pitcher profile for Edwin Jackson.
Edwin Jackson, one of the best right-handers and, well, best pitchers in the American League this year. Somehow, some way, with an ERA of under 2.5, only 6 wins.
Span with a high drive, deep right center field. Granderson retreats to haul it in. 1 down.
Here's your scouting report. Brought to you by Sprint. He's got a swing and miss fastball. That means he can get the fastball by anybody, and it can reach the high 90s. He has no fear. Yeah, Joe Mauer, Justin Morno, he's going to be facing hitters like that today, but he will challenge those hitters, even the great hitters, with that fastball. And really, he only goes to the off-speed stuff when necessary. Like if he gets his fastball squared up a few times, will he break out the off-speed stuff?
This is a Detroit staff that probably throughout baseball is the hardest throwing staff. You've got Jackson, who can throw in the mid to upper 90s, a relief corps that starts in the low 90s and can exceed 100 miles per hour. Verlander in his career has threatened 100 miles per hour and passed it a few times. Harris at the plate with 1 strike. And now inside 1-1. And Jackson, of course, in his first year with Detroit, coming over from the Rays. Jackson trying to pick up his first win in 4 weeks, but you can't blame him. He has pitched very well throughout, just has not been given much run support. You can see the work in progress, emphasis on the word progress for Edwin Jackson. High and tight to Harris.
And that's one thing that really will help Edwin Jackson, a hard throw. When you can pitch in and pitch in effectively like that, well, that'll open up the outside corner.
Harris chops it off a leg, foul. Still 2-2.
If you can open up that outside corner, if you can get guys thinking inside, when you throw as hard as Jackson does, you're going to get a lot of called strikes because they're going to be thinking in as you're going away. He's also learned a lot by pitching behind Justin Verlander.
Verlander and Jackson are split now for a good part of the season, though. They were back-to-back. Fouled up in our direction. And there's Verlander, who won't pitch in this series, but Jackson pitching behind Verlander, studied Verlander and learned how he approached hitters. And Verlander has come up with a very good year this year, and Jackson has followed suit. They were for a while a very good 1-2 punch. Up high, and now a full count to Harris.
Yeah, that's a pretty good guy to piggyback when you've got that kind of stuff. And really, Jackson throws nearly as hard as Verlander, one of the harder throwers in the game.
Rick Knapp, the pitching coach for Detroit, said that Jackson's become more, my word, not his, but cerebral, studying the game, studying at bats. There's a called third strike to Harris, and out number 2.
A little bit of a slider there on the 3-2 pitch. Harris thought it was inside. It looked like it may have shaved that inside corner. Mike Riley, the home plate umpire, rings it right up.
Joe Mauer caught all 16 innings last night. He's in the game as a designated hitter here today, hitting at 390. A couple of hits in the game last night, and when you hit 390 and go 2 for 6, your average goes down.
That's a shame, isn't it? That just should never happen. That's how good a year this kid's having.
Mauer did not play the first month of the season. His season started on May 1st. The numbers he's accumulated, the home runs and the runs batted in, speak of a player who has played the full season, but he has not. He missed the first month. He still is just a handful of plate appearances short of qualifying for the league leadership in hitting. Technically, Ichiro Suzuki's leading the American League at 367, and Mauer is 4 plate appearances short of having the necessary number of plate appearances to qualify. Swing and a foul, and it's 1-2.
To reiterate what we talked about earlier, Dick, 3 fastballs right to this 390 hitting Joe Mauer. There's just no back down in Edwin Jackson. I don't care who you are. Let's play baseball.
Well, Jim Leyland said this morning, he said he considers Mauer and Morno to be the best 1-2 punch in the game. And last night, Leyland intentionally walked both Mauer and Morno to fill the bases with Joel Zumaya on the mound. And the strategy worked. Cuddyer struck out against Zumaya, and the threat was quashed.
You always have meetings before a series, and these two guys, Mauer and Morno, you say these are the guys that, you know, if given the opportunity, we don't want these guys to beat us. And Jim Leyland didn't allow it, walking both of them, and he came out smelling like a rose.
3-2, and one of the things that makes Mauer such a good hitter with Morno on deck is the fact he's got a very discerning eye at the plate. 32 walks against just 28 strikeouts.
He controls the strike zone as well. He's just got such an effortless swing, always in control.
And up and away, Mauer takes first, and Morno will have a chance in the first inning.
Let's take a look at how Edwin Jackson went after Mauer. Fastball right down the middle. And he's going to try to come in. That's never a bad thing to do against the great ones. Good swing there. Now he goes to the off-speed stuff for some reason and starts missing. All those pitches are off-speed. So he attacked early with the fastball and then tried to put him away with the off-speed stuff, and he walked him.
And now Morno with Mauer aboard. Off-speed pitch sailing wide.
You can see right now, not a very good feel for the off-speed stuff for Edwin Jackson.
Twins beat Jackson earlier this year at Comerica Park, but he pitched 6 very good innings and then wobbled a little bit in the 7th and gave up a crooked number. Toward the hole and through. Mauer will round second and hold up there. More so Mauer than Morno, but both used the whole field to hit. And that time Morno found a hole through the shift.
Yeah, the shift you were talking about there. Shortstop is playing on the right side of the diamond. All he does is just poke it over to the left side. And that's an easy base hit. Another easy base hit for Justin Morno. And like clockwork, there they are on base again. Mauer on second, Morno on first.
And the forgotten left-hander in this Twins lineup, Jason Kubel. You hear so much about Mauer and Morno, and Kubel, a dangerous hitter, particularly against right-handed pitchers, doesn't get a chance much against lefties, and he takes ball 1.
He's another good fastball hitter. Edwin Jackson going to have to find a way to retire Kubel, who he can hit anybody's fastball. So Jackson going to have to be careful.
Swing and a miss at the fastball at 95 miles per hour.
And that's what Jackson can do. He can reach back in the tough times, and he can find 95, 96. And we just threw that one right by Kubel.
1-1 to the Twins left fielder. Released to left. Rayburn is there to catch the line drive and put an end to the first inning. A scoreless first here in Minneapolis. Is sponsored by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. By Sprint, the Now Network. and by Avodart. Beautiful weather in the upper Midwest. The Metrodome has housed Twins baseball since 1982. Next year they're moving outdoors. And Liriano, after a good first inning, will face Ryan Rayburn, Brandon Inge, and Magglio Ordonez. Rayburn a couple of hits in the ball game last night. Swing and a miss, 1-1.
I know I'm looking forward to seeing Twins baseball played outdoors, even though April might be a little bit chilly, and heck, sometimes even June.
A high fly to short right. And Kadire lost it for a while, but makes the catch run away. Very special day throughout Major League Baseball. All 15 games this year, raising awareness for ALS, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, otherwise known as Lou Gehrig's disease, on the 70th anniversary of his infamous speech. And there's an online auction of the commemorative first bases used in the games today. And players, of course, wearing patches, managers wearing patches. And strike one to Brandon Inge.
And so far, Liriano just been a strike machine, jumping ahead of every Tiger hitter here in the early going.
Fly ball to center field, and Span comes in. Out number 2. And that'll bring up Magglio Ordonez. And people around baseball wondering what in the world has happened to Magglio Ordonez. Where has the power gone?
It just doesn't make any sense. Magglio Ordonez is one of the, I'm telling you, the last few years been one of the best hitters in the entire game, but it has just gone kaput as far as extra base hits. Not only the home runs, but the doubles are way down as well.
Earlier this year went 150 at bats without a home run. Swing and a miss, 1-1. Getting a chance to play against a left-hander. The number's slightly better against left-handed pitching.
Ordonez still commands respect from Liriano and the rest just because of what he's done. But you just see a lot of that, a lot of tardy swings anymore this year from Ordonez. And it's frustrating for Jim Leyland. It's certainly frustrating for Magglio.
If this isn't at bat, it will be his 250th at bat. He has 12 extra base hits, 9 doubles, 3 homers.
Doesn't seem possible for a guy of his caliber.
2-2. 2 gone here in the second. You can see the slugging percentage for Ordonez taking a nosedive. He's tried everything, different approaches at the plate. He even got his first haircut, full haircut, in 4 years.
I was going to say, that's been a while since we've seen Ordonez without that mane flowing out from under the helmet.
A liner down the line, a base hit, and it will be an extra base hit from Magglio Ordonez. So a 2-out double down the line on what looked to be an off-speed pitch, and he hooked it into the left field corner.
Looked like he got a changeup there from Liriano. Not a bad swing. It's down in the zone. But you just see him stay back nicely and pull it into left field for a double. Double number 10. Unbelievable.
Second hit for the Tigers. They've each come with 2 outs in an inning. And here's the backup catcher, Dusty Ryan. Gerald Laird caught the entire game last night for the Tigers.
That's a lot of catching. 16 innings worth.
And when you catch every pitcher available, a starter and 7 relievers. Swing and a miss by Ryan.
You go in and you say, Skip, I don't know what you got planned for me tomorrow, but it wouldn't hurt me to maybe sit and watch.
Well, both managers said this morning that they were pleasantly surprised, the players who came in today and said, yeah, I'm good to go. Put me in. Brandon Inge has had a left knee issue. He said he was ready to go today. Outside, 1-1.
Spending a lot of time in Chicago like I did, Dick. You're very famous Ernie Banks saying, let's play 2.
Well, they did that last night.
And I don't think that applies today for these fellas.
They played 2 last night. 1-1 to Ryan. Every relief pitcher was used. 16 innings. The Tigers scored 3 in the top of the 16th, and the Twins nearly got it tied up in the bottom of the 16th. 2-1 after the game. Kevin Slowey, the Twin starter, was put on the disabled list with an injured wrist or a sore wrist. He's flying out tomorrow to have the wrist examined on Monday. 2-1 to Ryan. And now 3-1. First base open, and Everett, of course, the number 9 hitter. Slowey, in his last start last year, was hit by a line drive. Juan Uribe of the White Sox hit him in the wrist with a line drive. And he's experienced pain in the right wrist area ever since, and it's just gotten to the point where, with back-to-back starts of 3 innings, they're going to take a look.
That would be a huge loss for the Twins.
Leading the team with 10 wins, and some people had mentioned Slowey as a possible candidate for the All-Star game, but he's on the disabled list now, and that's probably going to cripple his candidacy.
That would probably end
given the fact that the All-Star game isn't a week and a half
exactly.
yet.
I'm a big fan of the All-Star game. I can't wait to sit back and watch it again this year. St. Louis, Missouri, what a great city for the All-Star game this year. That is a baseball town.
To Dusty Ryan. Ball 4 fills first base, and that'll get the former Twin Everett to the plate with 2 men aboard. It was in St. Louis
right there.
It was in St. Louis last weekend, and they are really gearing up for the All-Star game. They've got some of the All-Star, the Hall of Famers are going to be part of a lot of festivities. Red Shane Deans, Lou Brock, Bob Gibson. Of course, the Pepsi All-Star pregame show, 8 o'clock on July 14th, 8 o'clock Eastern. Tigers threatening here with 2 on and 2 out.
You would imagine Joe Mauer. You would imagine Morno.
Here's Adam Everett. Swing and a miss. Everett last year suffered through an injury-plagued season with the Minnesota Twins. He had a sore shoulder. It was tendonitis, nothing torn or anything like that. But he spent all winter rehabbing with a physical therapist his right shoulder, and the shoulder this year has given him no trouble at all.
Always one of the better defenders in the game at shortstop. He always finds a way to get a big hit every now and then, even from the number 9 slot.
Grand slam earlier this year, his second career grand slam. Liriano gets ahead of him quickly, 0-2. Tigers really addressed their defense on the left side of the infield. Part of it was putting Brandon Inge and leaving him there at third. He's about as good as they get over there. And then getting a defensive shortstop in Everett to complement him on the left side. And another tapper foul.
Yeah, the Tigers decided a few years ago they're going to beat you with offense. And they really didn't pay attention to the other parts, the defense, the pitching. Well, after a last place finish last year, when everybody was counting on them to just score runs by the thousands, well, they had to go to plan B, and that was shore up, especially the left side of their infield. And boy, they have some power arms now.
2 strikes again to Adam Everett. Fastball sails outside. For his part, Everett really is regretful that the Twins fans never got a chance to see him play at his best. He was really hindered with that shoulder injury all year long and was all but released midway through the season. Nice block by Jose Morales, the catcher, and it's 2-2. A few more pitches this inning, but a good strike to ball ratio.
And he had an easy, breezy first inning, striking out the side. Having to work a little extra hard here in the second inning. Tigers putting together some at-bats on him.
22 pitches this inning. And now the count even to Everett. Got him. A fastball that covered the outside corner. 4 strikeouts through 2 innings for Liriano. By Pepsi is sponsored by Bud Light Lime. The drinkability of Bud Light with the refreshing taste of lime. No score going to the bottom of the second inning. It'll be Michael Cuddyer, Brian Busher, and Jose Morales facing Edwin Jackson, who gave up a walk and a hit with 2 outs in the first. And the same pitching matchup that the Tigers and Twins had back on May 4th at Comerica Park, with Liriano beating Jackson in that game. Down and away, now high and tight, 2-0.
Really, that was the only poor result that Edwin Jackson's had all year long. It all came in 1 inning, the 6th.
And now 3-0. It's wonderful to see a pitcher like Jackson. I mean, maybe not the best time to bring it up since he's fallen behind 3-0, but for most of his career with the Rays, control was a big issue for him, and he started arresting that problem last year, and he's done an even better job of it this year. A 4-pitch walk putting Cuddyer on, and it's his second walk of the ball game. Saturday baseball on Fox, presented by Pepsi, returns next week. It'll be St. Louis and Wrigley Field against the Cubs. You've heard of them, Mark Grace.
Every once in a while.
The Yankees and the Angels. Coverage begins at 4 p.m. Eastern. Check your local listings. Leadoff walk to Cuddyer, and that'll bring up Brian Busher.
Certainly some star power with the Yanks and Angels. Torrey Hunter having a monster year.
In his second year with the Angels, he will get some MVP consideration if the Angels win that division, simply for keeping the Angels afloat when it seemed like everybody else was hurt. Brian Busher at the plate.
Mike Scioscia starting to get healthy out there in Anaheim. When that team gets healthy, look out.
Right now, the Angels and Rangers in a dead heat in the American League East, or West rather. Throw to first, and Cuddyer gets back. Twins filling third base this year with veteran Joe Creedy and Brian Busher. Busher getting the start there today because Creedy played all 16 innings last night, and Creedy with a history of back and hamstring issues. Probably won't be used at all today. Might be back in the starting lineup tomorrow.
That's the one thing. Kudos to all these guys that played last night or playing again today. 16 innings on artificial turf. It's just not easy on the body.
1-1. And now 2-1. Talking with Brandon Inge this morning, he said, yeah, his left knee got through the game just fine, but his experience here has been the games are fine, but when he leaves here, he can feel it in his legs. That's when the body starts to remind you, oh, by the way, I'm still here. 2-1 to Brian Busher.
There's the swing and miss fastball right there from Edwin Jackson.
How do you lay off that pitch? It looks like it's coming in at the belt and almost has a little jump on it at the end.
The closer the pitches is to eye level, the bigger it looks, and it just looks like it's so hittable. But then once it's at the letters, well, you've got to be some kind of quick to catch up to it.
2-2 to Busher. And strike 3 and the first out of the inning.
Yeah, that's just no nonsense baseball right there. Rare back, belt high right down the middle and right by Busher. Oh, what a pitch. Those are pretty strikeouts, aren't they? When you just rear back and throw a fastball right by somebody, those are the pretty ones.
Well, it's interesting to hear a hitter speak that way.
Oh, yeah. I watch, like, for instance, Sammy Sosa, all the home runs, but he was a guy that when he struck out, they were pretty strikeouts. Remember Glenn Allen Hill?
Yes.
A guy that could hit a ball 800 feet, but when he struck out, they were just fun to watch. Mighty swings.
Here's Morales taking a called strike.
Famous Reggie Jackson. Those were pretty strikeouts.
Here in Minnesota, Harmon Killebrew years ago. Here's Morales, the third string catcher. The Twins rarely carry 3 catchers, but they do it here now because, well, today's a perfect example. You can DH Joe Mauer and not run the risk of having to lose your DH if you had just 2 catchers and something happened to the regular catcher. In this case, the Twins are really limited to just 2 catchers because Mike Redmond's a little dinged up.
He's dinged up as well. So.
Just outside, 1-1.
Yeah, Edwin Jackson trying to shave that outside corner here the entire inning. Just been a couple inches off, and Mike Riley not going to extend it for him.
32 pitches for Jackson and just 15 strikes.
You just see how much he's improved by pitching to more contact. Still not going to be able to get that outside corner from Mike Riley.
Second in the American League in earned run average to Zach Greinke. Greinke at 2.00 and Jackson about a half run higher than that. Two and one to the switch hitting Twins catcher. There's the outside corner. Everything to Morales, and most of the Twins hitters has been away, away, away.
I love the fact that Edwin Jackson's being stubborn. He's going to continue to try to pound that outside corner. I'm going to keep throwing it there until I find that arm slot. It wouldn't surprise me at all if he goes right back to the outside corner. Yep. Give me that fastball away, and that's what he got from Dusty Ryan.
And another strikeout, third of the game for Edwin Jackson, 2 down.
Well, that was a great shot of Ryan putting down some signs. Give me a fastball in. No. Give me a slider. No. I want the fastball away. I'm going to stay stubborn and continue to pound that outside corner. And he threw it right by Morales.
2 gone. Cuddyer after the leadoff walk, still at first, and here's Nick Punto. Punto hitless last night, taken out late for a pinch hitter, but he did walk twice and score twice. And Jim Leyland said after the game last night it was a nice game to win for Detroit because it would have been a terrible game to lose. And one of the things that went wrong last night for the Tigers, who had a couple of 6-run leads, is walking the number 9 hitter twice and have that hitter come around and score. Swinging a foul, 2 strikes.
Jackson just jumps right ahead again with a couple of fastballs away. There's an old saying in the dugout when you're playing one of those marathons, they become work. It's no longer fun when you're playing that many innings and trying to win. But you start saying in the dugout, hey guys, we're here. We might as well win this thing. If we're going to be here for 6 hours, we might as well win this thing. And the Tigers increased their lead in the Central in a marathon.
White Sox are in second place in the division, but they lost this afternoon in Kansas City 6-4. And Jim Leyland, I think the case can be made, Mark, he's done a better job managing this year than he did when they were the talk of baseball and ended up making it to the World Series, because it's been a kind of a transition year for Detroit. You know, within their success this year, they've been in first place most of the year, but they've gotten younger as the season has worn along. Ordonez is playing less. Younger outfielders like Anderson are getting more playing time out there.
And they don't have Jeremy Bonderman this year, one of their star right-handers. So yeah, with what Jim Leyland has had to deal with and what he can put on the field on a daily basis, I think he's done a tremendous job this year.
Got a contract extension a week or so ago. Pitch up and away, and now Punto has a full count, and Cuddyer will leave early from first.
A lot of times, pitchers, once they get you 0-2, they try to strike you out rather than just get you out. I think right there, Edwin Jackson, he's bounced a breaking ball. He's missed with a fastball. I think right there, he was trying to strike out Punto instead of just maybe put a little sink on it or maybe a little run on it and try to get a ground ball and save that pitch count. Both managers need their pitchers to go deep today.
Cuddyer takes off, and Punto walks again. He's reached 3 times in this series, and the Tigers have issued a free pass to the number 9 hitter, hitting .209 3 times. The predictable response from Jim Leyland.
He's a beauty, isn't he? You always know how Jim's feeling. He doesn't keep too much inside.
And now Span, who hit the ball fairly well his first time up and coming off a 5-hit game last night, comes up with 2 men aboard, and Jackson, first time through the Twins lineup, has walked 3 men.
And that's the problem when you walk the number 9 hitter. Well, you turn the lineup over and you start having to face guys that get paid very handsomely to drive these runs in.
Outside ball 1. Span has had an interesting dilemma to deal with. with an inner ear infection that affected his equilibrium and his eyesight. And Twins had an off day the other day, and he said that off day meant the world to him. He said before the game last night he felt the best he's felt in weeks, and then he goes out and gets 5 hits. And he takes a belt high strike, 1-1.
When I suffered those symptoms, it was usually just because of the night before.
He is the only true leadoff hitter that the Twins have, and when he was out for a while on the disabled list, he was sorely missed. Very patient at the plate. 40 strikeouts and 33 walks. Squirted to the left side, and Everett with a nice play, and he throws to Polanco to end the inning. No score after 2. We'll return to Minneapolis after a word from your local Fox station. Here to lead off the 3rd inning against Francisco Liriano. Off-speed pitch away. Granderson struck out for the 11th time in 18 at-bats against Liriano. Start the ball game.
That's where you might think about laying down a bunt. Because he's got such great speed. But the thing is with Curtis Granderson, not your prototypical leadoff man when it comes to power. He hits a bunch of home runs.
He and Brandon Edge share the team lead with 18. And because of that, Granderson for a while was hitting in the middle of their lineup. But as we said regarding Denard Span and the Twins, Tigers had a hard time filling the leadoff spot with Granderson hitting in the middle of the lineup. Big swing and a miss, 2-2. And so sometimes it's not so much that Granderson can't hit in the middle of the lineup, it's the vacuum he creates behind him in the leadoff spot. There they are, and each with 18 home runs. Cecil Fielder and Mickey Tettleton, a long time ago, had better first halves. Here's a foul over the Twins dugout.
And that's why Jim Leyland keeps penciling Granderson in, because even though the success has been minimal against Liriano, if he gets a mistake, he can hit it a long ways. Brandon Inge right there. As you see, Jim Leyland said he should be in the All-Star game this year.
That is chopped foul between Gene Lamont and the line.
Brandon Inge, a guy like you mentioned, 18 home runs and Gold Glove caliber third base year in and year out.
2-2. And now outside to the speedy Granderson. Polanco will follow. Liriano with 1 walk allowed. Coming in the 2nd inning, but he has struck out 4. He has struck out 5. 1 away. Time for a direct TV game break, and we'll take you to beautifully new remodeled Kauffman Stadium. Luke Hochevar giving up a long home run to Jermaine Dye, a 2-run home run, giving the White Sox an early 3-0 lead, but the Royals struggling offensively come back. Roberto Callaspo with single scoring Jose Guillen and Martin. Royals took the lead, won the ball game 6-4.
All eyes certainly on the White Sox, who have been playing tremendous baseball, winners of 7 in a row going into that one.
1 down, and here's Polanco, who went down swinging last night, or in the 1st inning. 3 times last night and once in his first at bat here, and this from a guy who hardly ever strikes out.
Very rarely.
Doesn't walk much, doesn't strike out much. His 4 strikeouts in this series bring his season total up to 25. 2-1.
Going back to that White Sox game, the Royals winning that game 6-4. That's posted up here. Trust me, those players see it. They realize that they've got a chance to make a move on the White Sox today. I was a scoreboard watcher even in April.
Sure.
I mean, I always, a lot of players sit there and say, "Nah, I don't. We got to take care of our business. I don't look at the scoreboard." They're lying. That's where it's posted up here.
Scoreboard on the facing of the upper deck here at the Metrodome. Two and two to Polanco. Well, Polanco certainly has had the greatest impact in the times he's made contact in this series. Just a perfect example last night of a contact hitter coming up in a clutch spot and not trying to do too much in those 2 extra inning situations last night. There's a high fly to left. Kubel waiting for it. For those of you who haven't seen much baseball here, it's always a challenge to see fly balls in this ballpark, if we can call it a ballpark. Particularly in the daytime. You've got an opaque covering over the playing field that happens to be white or off-white, the exact color of a rubbed-up baseball.
I played a handful of games here in my career of interleague, and I was victim to this roof in a Sunday day game. You're always taught when the ball goes up, if you have to go back on it, to run to a spot, look up, and make the play. Well, here, if you run to a spot and look up, a lot of times you don't see anything but the roof.
Deep to left field, but Kubel is there. Cabrera may have cracked his back. Kubel with the catch. It's a 1-2-3 third inning for Francisco Liriano. Off drink of Major League Baseball. Brendan Harris leading off the bottom of the third against Edwin Jackson. He takes inside, ball 1. Harris, Mauer, and Morno facing Jackson, who has given up just 1 hit but 3 walks. And there's the outside corner, 1-1. Nothing new for Jackson. Here he is putting a couple of zeros up on the board, and the Tigers haven't scored him any runs. That's been the story of his season. Sliced foul.
You see just how hard Jackson is throwing that ball. He's just really getting on these Twins hitters. Very tardy with the swing there was Harris. He likes it at home.
One of the reasons the Twins have had a good home record this year. Harris has done well at home. Mauer has done well in his home ballpark. Under the chin, 2-2.
Once again, pitching inside effectively, not going in to hit him, but going in to make the hitter move. When you can make the hitter move, you achieved a lot. Right back to the outside corner he goes.
And another full count.
Pitch is slowly but surely starting to pile up a little bit on Edwin Jackson.
5 3-ball counts for Jackson. His first 11 batters. And again, 3 of them have walked. High fly to right center field. And Granderson with the call and the catch. Jim Leland, between innings, was asked how or what improvement he's noticed in Edwin Jackson this year.
Well, he's had a more consistent delivery for the most part. Although he's been a little out of whack today so far. You know, we want to get him settled back in. We got to watch him real close, but I think his delivery's been a little more consistent. He's starting to use his changeup a little bit more, as well as his slider, instead of just trying to overpower people. After
last night's marathon, Skipper, you really need him to go deep in the game, don't you?
Yeah, it'd be a good idea. Both pitchers got pretty high pitch counts already. You know, Edwin's thrown, I don't know, somewhere around 50 pitches and 60 pitches, and you know that's not good. I mean, that's a little rough. But we're hoping we can get him a little deeper. Excuse me, when I said that, some 40-some pitches, but you need to get him a little deeper. But I won't take a chance of getting anybody hurt at any cost.
And our thanks for Jim Leland's time. 1-0 to Mauer, who drew a first inning walk. Now he takes ball 2. And since Jim Leland mentioned it, Jackson now has thrown 52 pitches.
Yeah, even the outs he's getting are 5 and 6, even 7 pitch outs. That just really takes a toll. We've been saying it a lot after last night's marathon. Both bullpens are taxed.
Well, Jim Leland said that in today's game, and for that matter, tomorrow's game, Joel Zumaya and Freddie Dulce won't be used. So the number 1 setup guy for the Tigers, Zumaya, threw 53 pitches last night. Dulce threw 64. And they're not even on the available list for Jim Leland this afternoon. Pitches up high, 3-1. The Twins in a little bit better shape with their bullpen. Nathan and others didn't throw that many pitches last night. Bobby Keppel, 14 pitches. Nathan, 21. Matt Guerrero, 19. 3-1 to Joe Mauer. Up the middle, but right at Everett. Tiger shift pays off, 2 down. And that'll bring up Justin Morno, who beat a Tiger shift, an infield shift, for a first inning single.
Both Ron Gardenhire and Jim Leland going with the initials BYOB. He needs their starter to be their own bullpen. Be your own bullpen when you're Edmund Jackson or when you're Francisco Cabrera. Don't count on those guys to get those laid outs for you. Do it yourself.
Morno with a big swing and a foul. Morno might very well be the answer to a trivia question around the country. Who actually won the home run derby last year?
Josh Hamilton, right?
No, it was Justin Morno. And he hopes to go back to the All-Star game again this year.
He was so humble, he almost apologetically was raising the trophy over his head.
Hamilton put on such an impressive show in the preliminary rounds, and it was Morno who ended up winning the Derby last year. Ripped to right and a base hit. It'll run to the wall. Ordonez plays the soft carom, and Morno has a single and a double here this afternoon. And the 2 Twins hits have come from Morno, and each with 2 outs in an inning.
Morno is just so dangerous. Edmund Jackson goes inside. He gets that pitch where he wants it, to the inside corner. Watch him pull his hands in close to his chest and still gets the barrel of the bat there. And he's just so doggone strong. Easily gets it to the wall. And a 2-out base runner in scoring position here for the Twins.
And now Kubel, who came up with 2 on and 2 out in the first and lined out to the left fielder Rayburn. Rare for a team to have 3 straight left-handed batters in succession in the middle of their lineup, but that's the state of affairs in Minnesota with Mauer, Morno, and Kubel. Now against lefties, it's a different story. Last night, Tigers had a left-handed pitcher, and Ron Gardenhire took Kubel out of the lineup.
Well, you've also got 2 of those lefties in Mauer and Morno. They don't give an inch against left-handers. They don't care if you're left-handed or right-handed. They're going to hammer you.
Kubel pops it straight up, and enough room for the catcher Dusty Ryan to make the catch. 3 scoreless innings here. Happy 4th of July to everybody. Our paint, Valspar, the beauty goes on. By Zantac, heartburn, attack it, Zantac. And by Chevy. Francisco Liriano pitching to the Tigers in the 4th, starting with Marcus Thames. First pitch dribbled foul, strike 1. Thames, Rayburn, and Inge, the middle of the Tiger lineup, facing Liriano, who has given up a couple of hits, 1 walk, and this will be his 57th pitch. And it's a ball, 1-1.
Now, both pitchers really not very economical so far. Yeah, you love the zeros. But boy, both guys looking like it's going to be difficult to get even 6 innings out of them today with their high pitch counts.
Hooked foul, 1-2. In 16 innings last night, the Tigers, who were swept here in Minnesota back in May, really felt they needed to win the opening game here last night, to the point where Jim Leland pulled Luke French, his starting pitcher, out with a 5-run lead after 4 2/3 innings, saying it was in essence more important for the Tigers to win than for Luke French to get his first major league win. And he went to his bullpen early, and that's ball 3, 3-2. And of course he's right. The Tigers leading the division, and they realize that it's right now a 3-team race between the Tigers, the White Sox, and the Twins. And the Tigers lost all 3 here in May. There's a high pop-up to the right side. Punto with the catch. Between innings, I asked Ron Gardenhire about Francisco Liriano's performance here this afternoon.
Well, he's a little more under control. And today he's misfiring a little bit as far as the number of pitches going out there. But you know what? He's not falling backwards as much, and he's been locating the ball and not trying to overthrow it. And When he does that, then that normally gets him a little deeper in the game like the last time out.
After a night like last night, Skipper, you give Joe Mauer a semi-day off with the DH spot. Is that the idea?
Yeah, you give him a little bit of a break, but we still need his bat. And you know what? We had a day off a couple of days ago. That's all he needs.
All right. Good luck, Skipper.
All right, my pleasure.
That's all he needs.
Ryan Rayburn, the hitter, 1-0 the count. And a liner lunged for and caught by Busher. Brian Busher taking an extra base hit away from Ryan Rayburn.
Oh, what a gorgeous athletic play. Look at the dive to the right. That saved extra bases. Just the reflexes. Well, that is a highlight film play right there. Super play there by Busher.
2 down in the 4th, and 6 straight retired by Liriano. Inge, the hitter. Inside, ball 1. Yeah, Jim Leland said again today, he thinks Brandon Inge should go to the All-Star game in St. Louis and back up Evan Longoria. Inge's numbers offensively very solid. Last year, of course, he moved around. He caught some. He played in the outfield. He played some at third base, and he hit just .205. What the Tigers have seen since they just put him at third base and left him there, he's given them that Gold Glove defense and improved offensively. Liriano with a changeup, and it's 1-2.
Less to stress about. When you know every day that you come to the ballpark, you just have to take your third baseman's glove. You don't have to take fly balls in left field. You don't have to take ground balls at first base, or whatever it is they have in mind for you. It's great to be versatile as he strikes out.
3 up, 3 down on the 4th, thanks to a great play at third base by Brian Busher. Foul from Edwin Jackson. Kadire walked, leading off the 2nd, and here he'll lead off the 4th.
Good slider there from Edwin Jackson to jump ahead 0-2.
Kadire, Busher, and Morales. And nice block by the catcher, Dusty Ryan.
You see the number of pitches, 63. Not the greatest balls and strikes ratio at all, but bottom line is he's putting zeros up so far.
Kadire drives it to left field. Rayburn going back. It is off the wall. It's gone. A home run. Just over the reach of Rayburn, and Kadire puts the Twins up 1-0.
Edwin Jackson leaves the slider in the middle of the plate. And Kadire, he just goes out, gets extended, and hits it a long ways.
Pitch might have been off the outside corner, and it just barely either hit the top of the wall or bounced off of Rayburn's glove.
Let's take a look. Right off the top of the wall, you're right. That's knowing your ballpark right there by Michael Kadire. Great effort there by Rayburn. But it's 1-0 Twins.
1 strike to Busher. And Busher again going after that high fastball. And it looked as if Rayburn had gotten back to the wall 1 step earlier. He might have had a play.
Unfortunately for Edwin Jackson, the way it's been for him this year as far as run support, he's hoping that's not enough to beat him.
1-2 to Busher. Will try to lay off Jackson's letter high fastball. He struck out on one of those pitches in the 2nd. And he goes after the curve and strikes out here in the 4th. Time for a DirecTV game break. Let's take you back to San Diego. Home run in his first at bat, and Ramirez making a bid in his second at bat for another hit. Close play at first. Ramirez called out, and a brief argument with the umpire.
None too happy in his return.
One down, and here's Jose Morales.
He was out.
Because the umpire said he was.
His word is usually law.
They don't reverse them very often.
Yeah, usually when you do something theatrical like that, like removing your helmet to get your point across, a lot of times umpires aren't too lenient with that, and they will run you.
Now, you speak as a man who is speaking from experience. How many ejections did you have in your illustrious Major League career?
I was mild-mannered. I'd say probably, in my 16 years, probably 5.
Okay.
Probably 5, just for griping. Well, of course not. All I did was come out and say, "Excuse me, kind sir, but I think you may have been mistaken," and I got run.
2-1 to Morales. And a swing and a miss. And there's that, what you call it, a swing and a miss fastball?
That's the swing and miss fastball that Edwin Jackson has. For instance, like Francisco Liriano has a swing and miss slider, a great slider. But when you've got a swing and miss fastball, that makes everything else that much better.
And Morales slices it foul over the Twins dugout. Indoors here at the Metrodome, about 80 degrees outside, and next year when the Tigers come to play the Twins, they'll play outside at a new ballpark built in the other end of downtown.
Long time coming here in the Twin Cities.
Well, a generation of fans here have not been able to watch Major League Baseball outdoors. They moved inside from Metropolitan Stadium here in 1982, and you played some games in here, I know, and from the moment you walk in here, you realize this was built for football.
For football.
Not for baseball.
For the Vikings, exactly. And for the Golden Gophers.
2-2, and Morales rockets one.
Look out in the Twins
facing,
dugout.
I believe, of the Twins dugout, or did it get in there and out so quickly?
I think it got the
Gatorade
water
cup.
coolers. Thank goodness, that could have really put a hurting on somebody. Yeah, pointed out.
Here at the Metrodome, they don't have screens like they have, I believe, in most ballparks now. 2-2. Jose Morales. Up the middle. Backhanded by Polanco. And Morales thrown out. 2 down.
Well, you've worked a long time here, Dick. Do you ever recall anybody getting hurt in a situation like that? A foul ball getting nailed into the dugout like that?
Not seriously. It's very close to home plate here, and it will be in the new ballpark at Target Field too. It's going to be a beautiful ballpark. There's not going to be a whole lot of foul territory, so the dugouts will be out very close to the baseline. But I'm sure they're going to have protective screens in front. Here's Nick Punto, who drew a 2-out walk in the second inning. The best example, I think, in the spring training game, Matt Keogh took a line drive in Arizona.
Yeah,
that's really, when you think about it, baseball responding to the tragic death of a minor league coach last year in a foul ball, and Punto slaps a base hit up the middle. Base coaches now wearing helmets, and I'm sure it's in most ballparks the reason those screens are put up to avoid any serious injury in a dugout from a foul.
Exactly right.
Punto with a base hit. He's reached twice, and that'll bring up Span.
I remember one time I made the mistake of my rookie year. Don Zimmer was my manager, and we're in Shea Stadium where the Mets play, or the former Shea Stadium, and they didn't have the protective screens. Doc Gooden threw me a fastball that I was very tardy on, and I got all of it right into our dugout, and I hit my manager, Don Zimmer, right in the shoulder. Needless to say, I didn't play for a couple of days.
Here's Span, 0 for 2 on the day. Punto, a threat to steal. The regular catcher for the Tigers, Gerald Laird, very good at throwing out runners. Less so for Dusty Ryan, his backup. known more as an offensive catcher rather than a defensive catcher. And so we'll see if Punto's asked to take off here with 2 out in the inning. Punto with 6 steals and 7 tries on the season. Out on the first pitch, and Span takes strike 1. Span, a left-handed batter. If Punto stays at first, the hole remains open. A little bit, an extra channel for a base hit to get into right field.
And as a left-handed hitter, that's one of the easiest things to do, is either look for something off speed or something on the inside part of the plate, and just, you don't even have to hit it hard to pull it through the hole.
And now the outside corner called, and it's 0-2. We'll see if Punto is asked to go now with 2 strikes on the hitter.
0-2, usually a difficult count to steal bases. It can be a pitch out count, or it can also be a wasted fastball count up and away.
And a look over, and Punto stays put. Jerry White, the first base coach for the Twins, also coached for a while with the Tigers years ago. Punto goes, and down and in. It's a ball and a steal without a throw.
So on garden iron, rolls the dice, decides to go on an 0-2 pitch. There's a slider down and in. Punto stole it with no throw.
Twins with a bit of a different identity. A couple of years ago, they had a lot of speed, stole a lot of bases, did a lot of hit and running, and this year's version of the Twins team more power laden. As a result of that, they've done less running. Just the 40th steal on the season for the Twins.
It's one thing, Dick, to steal bases, and they're exciting, and it certainly helps, but nothing kills an inning like a caught stealing.
Yeah.
So Ron Garden iron, you got to have a high success rate, or else you're just going to kill innings.
Span drives it to center. Granderson is there. Pretty well hit ball for the 3rd out of the inning. But the inning started with Michael Canary's 13th home run of the year, and the Twins take the first lead of the afternoon. Francisco Liriano has just delivered a fastball, and strike 1 to Magglio Ordonez. Ordonez with a 2-out double into the left field corner, his first time up. Great stop, a foul ball. Busher stopped it behind the bag at third, and third base umpire Eric Cooper said it was foul.
Oh, what a great play, even though it was a foul ball. As a pitcher, when you got a guy, you see a guy out there even diving for foul balls, boy, you love that. That's a guy that wants it.
2 quick strikes to Ordonez.
Just missed. That's a tough one to lay off there, Dave.
Ordonez with very good numbers against Liriano, and years ago he had very good numbers against Johan Santana. At times it seemed Santana, as good as he was, couldn't get Ordonez out. Liriano gets Ordonez here, 1 away. Join Major League Baseball in helping our returning veterans. Log on to MLB.com or welcomebackveterans.org for more information on how you can make a difference. And what a great time of the year to do that on our nation's Independence Day. Happy 4th of July to everybody, wherever you may be, and we wish for you a happy and very safe holiday weekend.
That's a good looking shirt there.
You know, if you have a shirt like that, you pretty much have to wear it, though, on the 4th of July, don't you?
Yeah, that's October, you wear it one time a year.
October, it wouldn't work. Swing and a miss.
About everything.
1-1. Ryan walked his first time up. Liriano has, the second time through the order, been perfect. First time through the order, a couple of hits with 2 outs and a walk. Now he's retired 8 men in a row. Fouled off a leg, and it's 1-2.
And that one took a big old bite out of Ryan there. Slider born in on his belly button. Watch that front leg. Oh, goodness. You just want to sit down in the batter's box and ball your head off when that happens. Oh, that hurts.
One and two to Dusty Ryan. Little pop up behind first. Morno and Punto. Now Punto in foul ground. Had to slam on the brakes to make the catch. 2 down. Never coming to the plate, but first let's take a look at the voting for the American League All-Star team. Joe Mauer behind the plate. Kevin Youkilis now at first base. Kinsler and Jeter up the middle. Jason Bay, Josh Hamilton. Ichiro in right field. Evan Longoria at third.
I think the fans did a pretty good job on the American League, don't you?
Yeah. First, the All-Star game coming up in a week and a half on July 14th, and the Pepsi All-Star pregame show will come your way at 8 p.m. Eastern.
And the only one I would maybe argue with, and I guess it's a decent argument, is Josh Hamilton in center field. You love what he's just been hurt for most of the year.
Right. And the number's not what they were
right.
a year ago.
But he's also, after what he did last year, I would imagine all the fans want to see him hit those moon shots again. I was fortunate enough to be there last year, Dick. That was something else.
See, I love the All-Star game. I always have. As a kid, I think I watched every inning. I still do as an adult. I've gone to All-Star games just as a fan, just to watch. To me, it's a big event. And I'm old enough to where I remember it was almost a life or death situation for the American League or the National League to win the game. The National League seemed to win all the time.
Well, yeah, and now it's certainly been reversed. And what makes it good is this one's tapped to first. Major League Baseball's All-Star game is the only All-Star game where the players actually try, and they try to win.
A 1-2-3 fifth for Francisco Liriano. 1-0. Michael Kadire home run leading off the fourth, and now Edwin Jackson will pitch to the Twins in the fifth. It'll be Brendan Harris, Joe Mauer, and Justin Morno. Going into the break, we were talking about the All-Star game, and you said that the baseball All-Star game, the Major League Baseball All-Star game, the only one where the players actually try.
And what I meant by that is, for instance, let's just go the other sports. The Pro Bowl in football, it's way that's a trip to Hawaii for those guys, and you know the hitting and the tackling is not near what it is. And then now let's go to basketball, because that one's popped up. Brandon Inn's going to make the play, a quick out.
One down in the fifth quickly. Mauer to the plate. He'll be at the All-Star game on July 14th. Here's the National League balloting. And you know what is interesting, looking at not so much Beltran or Ibanez, but the representation from the fans in the middle to smaller markets like Ryan Braun in Milwaukee. So Ichiro in right field for the American League. Joe Mauer here in Minnesota. Everybody's going to vote for Pujols.
Right.
But
Hanley Ramirez.
Right.
Hanley Ramirez
exactly.
at the Florida Marlins. What a fabulous player he is. And American League fans just don't get a chance to see the Florida Marlins very often. He may be all around top 3 players in the game.
I think it says something for how well educated the baseball fans are, that they realize that even though he's in a smaller market, a less visible market, that he's worthy of being starting for the National League. And don't forget to see if your favorite player will be headed to St. Louis for the All-Star game. TBS will have the All-Star Selection Show Sunday at 1 o'clock Eastern, noon Central. The game is Tuesday night, July 14th, right here on Fox, preceded, of course, by the Pepsi All-Star pregame show. Mauer with a swing for the fences, and it's 2-1.
Big swing. And I'm going to go back to the All-Star game stuff, Dick. For instance, in basketball, there's no defense played in the basketball All-Star game. It's about 160 to 150. And, of course, in the hockey All-Star game, there's no checking, no hitting. I mean, these guys are trying to win the baseball game in the baseball All-Star game. I love that.
Mauer fouls it back 2-2. Mauer already with a career high in home runs, 14, and people have been waiting for Mauer to pull the ball and hit for more power. Now he's hit for more power, but all but 2 of his home runs have been hit to either center or left. So the power is there, but he's not pulling the ball anymore.
He's got that rare ability to hit the ball long ways to the big part of the park as he strikes out.
Foul tip, and they're going to ask for the third base umpire, Eric Cooper, to see whether it was a foul ball into the dirt or not.
I think.
And Ryan now firing the ball into left field. It is a strikeout of Mauer.
The Tigers may have gotten a break here. If it indeed was a foul tip, nope, that was caught on the fly. That's a good call there by Mike Riley. It looked like it might have gotten into the dirt, but it didn't. It was caught clean there by Dusty Ryan, so that is a good call by Mike Riley. And a rare strikeout for Joe Mauer.
2 down in the 5th, and here's Morno. He's got a single and a double against Jackson. Deep to right, and now the home run. He jumped on the first pitch, the second solo home run for the Twins, and it's 2-0.
Morno, just such a strong young man. You make any mistake to him, he just pounds it. Watch his hips. His hips just explode through the baseball. Boy, when it comes off his bat, it makes a sound, doesn't it? My bat didn't make that sound, Dick.
How many major league home runs?
Not that I was counting, but 174.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Morno goes by that in about 3-4 years.
Well, he's on a pace. Morno is. This is actually game 82 for the Twins, so it's the start of the second half of the year. That's his 20th home run. With a little bit of a nudge in the second half, he could become just the second Twin ever to hit 40 home runs in a season. Harmon Killebrew is the only guy who's ever done it, and he did it annually in the early days of Twins baseball.
Well, you just look at him, just lean back, arms fully extended, head right on the baseball. And a beautiful result, a long, long home run.
2-2 to Kubel. Kadire leading off the 4th with a home run, and now Morno with a 2-out homer in the 5th.
66 RBIs now for Morno.
And Kubel strikes out.
I think that made Jackson mad.
2 strikeouts in the inning, but a second home run for the Twins as Morno connects. By Gillette Fusion, Gillette's closest, most comfortable shave, and by Miller High Life, good, honest beer at a tasty price. They're counting down the number of games left before the opening of Target Field next year. And they're down to 40 games left of indoor baseball here at the Metrodome. That was former Twin Juan Berenguer, former Tiger Juan Berenguer, who was asked to take down the number from 41 and reveal number 40. Granderson with a pop up to deep short. Harris backpedaling. 1 down. Liriano on a bit of a roll. And here's today's Gillette trivia question. Who is the last Twins first baseman to start an All-Star game? Justin Morno with a remote chance to get there this year.
Wow. We saw before the game a great Twins first baseman, Kent Herbeck, recite Lou Gehrig's speech.
I mentioned Harmon Killebrew, who played a lot at first base, perennially a home run champion, or 40 or more a year. Strike 1 to Placido Polanco.
Well, you grew up here in this area, Dick. Did you spend a lot of time in the old ballpark?
We go to one game a year. I lived out in the outstate area of Minnesota. There's a fly down the right field line, and Kadire watches it drift back into the seats. And of course, the big change that will occur here, even in the days of Metropolitan Stadium, that was a dual purpose stadium. The Vikings played there as well, and there were those overlap situations in September where the Twins would be out of town, the Vikings would chew up the field, and then the baseball team would come back, and it was not an ideal situation. This will be different for baseball fans. A grounder to third, and Busher has it. This Metrodome actually housing 3 major tenants, the Vikings, the University of Minnesota. So Target Field opening up next April will be a baseball-only facility, and it's about 80% complete. The seats are being put in right now, and no, it does not have a retractable roof, but it'll seat about 40,000 fans. And by August of this year, the turf will be laid, the seats will be put in, and by October, they say, the ballpark will be up and running, and then it'll go dormant during the off season, and it has heating coils, or will, under the turf, so they'll trick the grass into turning green in April in Minnesota when it normally doesn't turn green until May.
Well, I'm a big believer in this great game of baseball, the greatest sport in the world. Should be played outdoors.
Well, and you of course played at Wrigley Field for the bulk of your career. Cabrera swinging and missing. When the Twins were at Wrigley Field earlier this year, it seemed as if a third of the fans at least were Minnesotans who went all the way to Wrigley Field to watch the Twins play outdoor baseball. Sky to the right side. It may hit the roof. Punto tracking it, and he makes the catch. Another 1-2-3 inning for Liriano, his 4th in a row. The construction still going on a holiday at Target Field.
Reaching almost behind him to take away extra bases here a couple innings ago. That helped Francisco Liriano put up another goose egg. He's put 6 goose eggs up today. Liriano only given up 2 hits so far.
And 4 straight 1-2-3 innings, giving the Twins exactly what they've needed here, at least 6 strong innings. And now Cuddyer, who hit a home run his last time up, takes a big rip and a miss, 1-1. Cuddyer, Busher, and Morales to face Jackson, who has also given Jim Leland what the Tigers have needed here today. Some innings, at least 5, 96 pitches. This might be his last inning of work. Cuddyer with a walk, then the home run. And a drive foul, 2-2. Leading off the 4th, he got just enough to get it out.
Slider stayed up in the zone. He just got extended. Even with the effort by Rayburn, into the seats it goes. And it's been more than enough so far for Francisco Liriano and the Twins. Gas.
And Cuddyer strikes out for the first out of the 6th. To our Gillette trivia question, who's the last Twins first baseman to start in the All-Star game? A guy who up until recently,
I'm going to guess Killebrew.
It was Rod Carew.
I didn't know he played first base with the Twins. I thought he was. I didn't think he went to first base until he went to the Angels.
He made the transition in Minnesota after suffering a knee injury. Pitch number 100 for Jackson, a 7-time batting champion. All 7 batting championships won here with the Twins. There's a bouncer just foul. But Carew, up until recently, was the all-time All-Star top vote getter. He got more votes than anybody else through his career. Inducted into the Hall of Fame in 1991.
7 batting champions.
You know you're good when you have your number retired by 2 teams.
Great point.
With the Twins and the Angels.
And there's that classic Rod Carew. Nobody could do it like that. A little unorthodox, but there's no arguing with his success.
Busher with a 2-1 count. He struck out twice, once on a fastball, once on a curve from Edwin Jackson. Little pop fly to Everett. And out number 2.
Edwin Jackson throwing very hard this inning.
Well, and here we go again. If you're following Jackson's year this year, this is just more of the same. He's pitched fine here, given up 5 hits, had some control issues early. He's ironed those out, but the Tigers haven't scored him any runs.
He's throwing a beautiful ball game. He's an out away from going 6 innings. That's what Jim Leland needs. Giving up a couple of runs on a couple of solo shots. But just in this inning, so impressive when your pitch count is near 100. You need to give those guys a break. And he is doing just that. We talked about it, BYOB. Be your own bullpen, and that's what he's doing. But here in this inning, he's just blown away Kadire and Busher.
1-0 to Morales. A foul to the net, 1-1.
Still got 95 miles an hour.
It just seems like he's got a wonderful mix with the mid to upper 90s fastball. We've seen the 12-6 curveball, good off-speed pitches.
Well, what an addition he has been. That was kind of an acquisition that was under the radar during the offseason. Edwin Jackson coming over and having an all-star year now for the Tigers.
And Morales swings at one eye high.
And that's just gas.
Matt Joyce going
right by him. Yeah.
Matt Joyce going to the Rays, and he's been up with the major league club a little bit, but mainly staying in the minor leagues. Of course, the Rays have such a wealth of starting pitching that they felt they could not give up, but exchange Jackson for a young, promising outfielder.
Well, so far, you'd have to say that Detroit has certainly fleeced the Tampa Bay Rays when it comes to that one.
High hopper over the mound, and Morales will get a hit with 2 outs in the 6th.
Well, Edwin Jackson, after all the accolades were given, unfortunately he doesn't get himself in very good defensive position once he releases the baseball. He falls off to the side. And really, that's a routine comebacker, but because he didn't get himself in good defensive position after he released it, that's a 2-out base hit for Morales.
Here's Punto, who has reached twice, once with a walk, once with a single. Punto has undergone a position change. He was signed during the offseason to a 2-year deal as a shortstop. And now, in the middle of this season, has become the everyday second baseman with Brendan Harris playing short. The odd man out is Alexi Casilla, who twice has been demoted to AAA. And the Twins have felt that Punto was more adept at second base, playing on the other side of the infield than Harris was, so they just switched positions. Casilla, kind of a spark plug for the Twins last year, and he had 2 very disappointing stints with the major league club this year.
Casilla, a speed guy, a guy that really makes things happen when he gets on base. Just unfortunately for him and the Minnesota Twins, he just wasn't getting on base.
And taking some of the poor at-bats out into the field, which no manager likes.
Yeah, I never like seeing any of my teammates out playing their position, working on their swing.
2 strikes to Punto. Half swing, but strike 3. Scoreless 6th for Edwin Jackson. Will return to Minneapolis after a word from your local Fox station. From the Detroit and Twin Cities area, here's a hard ground ball up the middle by Thames and a leadoff base hit. First man to reach in 13 at-bats against Liriano. All the winners will be announced and honored during the Pepsi All-Star pregame show at the 2009 All-Star Game in St. Louis, July 14th on Fox. And then preceding the game, the Pepsi All-Star pregame show at 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Central on July 14th. Leadoff man is on. First time the Tigers have had a hit with less than 2 outs. That'll get the tying run to the plate in Ryan Rayburn. And he grounds the second pitch of the inning into left field. So Liriano sailing along until the 7th inning here, and now 2 pitches into the inning, the Tigers get their 3rd and 4th hits.
And just like that, the Detroit Tigers cooking up a brew here in the top of the 7th inning after doing Well, basically nothing all afternoon. Tying run just like that on first base. And Brandon Inge, he of the 18 home runs, going to step in here now with the possibility of giving his team the lead.
Inge with a fly to center and a swinging strikeout against Liriano. And that's going to cause some stirring down by the Twins bullpen. Swing and a foul, 1 strike. One thing that's happened to Liriano is he's tried to make this transition from dominant power pitcher and overpowering pitcher. He's had games like this where he's been sailing along and then without warning, just an inning completely unravels on him and the other team puts up a crooked number. Edwin Jackson's had the same problem with Detroit this year at times. 1 strike to Inge. Up, and it's 1-1.
A lot of times when you're starting to fatigue, starting to get a little weary, the ball will elevate a little more in the strike zone. A couple of pitches already here in the 7th inning were up, resulted in base hits, and he just missed up and up with a slider. There's Edwin Jackson begging, please get me some runs.
1-1 to Inge. Lifted foul into the seats. So far, the 4 Detroit hits have been harmless hits, but a threat here with runners at first and second and nobody out.
Yeah, as you said, the first 2 hits without 2 outs, leading off the 7th here.
Rick Anderson, Twins pitching coach, hoping that Liriano can complete this 7th inning. Struck him out. First base occupied, so Inge is retired. 1 away.
Oh, what a big strikeout there for Liriano. Let's see just how he did it. Get a slider up, another slider up. Now let's go with the fastball away. And then quite possibly the best changeup he's thrown the entire game. What a big time for it.
So 1 down, and here's Ordonez. Ordonez with a double down the line, and then he struck out in the 5th. High fly, deep center field, span back to the wall. It's gone. A home run for Ordonez. Just his 4th home run of the year, and the Tigers take the lead.
Boy, how quickly it can happen with these Detroit Tigers. A couple of singles, and then Magglio Ordonez, the first pitch he sees way out of here to left center field, and just like that, Detroit has stolen the lead from the Minnesota Twins. What a day for Magglio Ordonez. A double in his first at bat, and then he got a fastball right down Broadway, belt high, and way out of here it goes.
You mentioned that Ordonez has had great success against Liriano, and when he was here, Johan Santana. So a couple of good left-handed pitchers that the Twins have had, and Ordonez has owned them both. Here's Dusty Ryan, bouncer to short. Harris fires to Morno, 2 away. So Ordonez struggling to find his power stroke with just 9 extra base hits on the season, has 2 of them here this afternoon.
You can almost hear a pin drop here in the Metrodome. Stunned silence. A 3-run homer by Magglio Ordonez. So the Samson theory, not necessary here.
Bobby Keppel warming up. And Adam Everett takes ball 1.
Going to take a look at that. Just a fastball middle, belt high. And Ordonez has pounded a lot of those pitches out of the ballpark in his career.
What must be encouraging to the Tigers is Ordonez caught up with a major league fastball. That's been one of the concerns that they have had about him. Even his home runs have been hit on off-speed pitches largely, and here he got one center cut down the middle of the plate and plastered it.
You see, he loves to feast on Twins pitching.
3-0 now to the number 9 hitter. And a 4-pitch walk puts Everett aboard. or as Granderson will hit. Time now to bring the heat, presented by Taco Bell. Jackson consistently in the mid-90s, and Liriano, pre-Tommy John surgery, was able to match him, but now he tops out in the low 90s.
Well, Edwin Jackson, certainly the harder thrower, but Liriano, boy, at the end of the day, you might be questioning his numbers. Gosh, he was just throwing the ball so well and just in complete control of this ball game. Boy, in a matter of about 5 minutes, it just all went away.
1-0 to Granderson, 0 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts. And now they've got Everett picked off. Morno with the throw right on the bag, and that'll end the inning. But the inning starts with a pair of singles on the first 2 pitches. Ordonez connects for his 4th home run of the year, and the Tigers have their first lead of the afternoon. And now as we head into the 7th inning stretch, folks at the Metrodome will stand and sing God Bless America.
Watching this national broadcast of today's game in the singing of God Bless America.
Refreshes the world. And by AT&T, your world delivered. And by Touch of Gray, the best of both gets rid of some gray, never all. Magglio Ordonez with a 3-run jolt, and the Tigers take a 3-2 lead to the bottom of the 7th. Bernard Span leading things off. Moving up in the box and taking ball 1. 110 pitches, make that 111 now for Jackson, who is suddenly the pitcher of record in what might be a Detroit win after trailing 2-0. Now the Tigers have given him a chance with a win, finally, with some run support.
It's very rare for Edwin Jackson to see a 3-run homer on a day when he pitches, but here he sits with a 1-run lead. 9 outs to get.
Span takes low, and maybe the first evidence of what happened here last night with Jim Leyland professing on the air he wasn't going to get anybody hurt. Here's Jackson with 110 pitches to start the inning, but because the entire Detroit bullpen was used up last night, he asked Jackson maybe to go that extra inning and at least get some outs here in the 7th inning. Bobby C. warmed up for Mauer, Morno, and Kubel, presumably. Lefty Span, then a right-handed hitter Harris, and it's a 5-pitch walk to get the tying run aboard. And now Leland to the mound.
I would imagine he's got the hook with him.
C, I believe, is the only reliever warming up for the Tigers. C, a lefty, and Harris a righty, so this might be Leland just coming out checking with Jackson.
I'm sure he's asking the question. They've got everybody, every infielder out there. He's going to stay with his young right-hander.
Brandon Lyon has joined Bobby C. in the bullpen. Lyon throwing 21 pitches in the ball game last night.
I would imagine Jim Leyland out there saying, look, facing Brendan Harris, you've worn him out all day. He's 0 for 3. I don't care if he gets on base or if he makes an out. This is going to be your last batter. Let's make it a good one. He probably gave him some words of encouragement. I'm sorry, Dick.
Inge playing in front of the bag at third in case Harris drops down a sacrifice bunt. Pitches inside, ball one. Harris 0 for 3. An outfield fly, a foul out, a strikeout back in the first inning. Span, Minnesota's most prolific base stealer. 13 steals and 18 tries. Two and Jackson has to go that extra mile, the extra inning, fraction of an inning, has thrown 7 pitches and 6 of them were balls.
This has got to drive Jim Leyland insane. Big 3-run homer. And what your pitcher do? Goes out, walks the leadoff man, and then falls behind the second hitter. This is called asking for it.
In front of Mauer and Morno. There's a belt high strike, 2-1. Bobby C. warmed up. He'll likely come in to face Mauer, Morno, and Kubel. Jackson steps off and freezes. Span leans back to the bag and freezes.
You see Jackson really starting to slow things down out there. Throwing a lot of pitches, trying to take a little time between each pitch to make sure he's got enough on the baseball.
And a called strike, 2-2 now to Harris.
Slider stayed up and on the inside part of the plate. But it froze Harris, and it evens the count at 2-2.
21 pitches now by our count for Edwin Jackson.
You see once again, just trying to take a little time, try to rev that arm up for one more bullet.
Two and two to the Twins shortstop. And a strikeout. And we'll see how quickly Jim Leyland comes out of the dugout here. With Mauer coming up next. Here comes Leyland, and he'll bring in Bobby C. Twins get the tying run on with 1 out in the 7th, and the Tigers go to their bullpen.
Excellent job by Edwin Jackson.
Bobby C in to face Joe Mauer. Breaking ball inside. C has been outstanding for the Tigers. He's had 2 disappointing outings, and they both come against the Twins. Back in May, when the Twins swept the Tigers here, in back-to-back outings, C gave up runs. And in an inning and a third, the Twins tacked on 5 earned runs against Bobby C., who's only given up 9 earned runs all year long. Outside 2-0.
I would imagine Jim Leyland said, "Give me the lefty." C comes in, takes the baseball, and he says, "All right, who's up?" Joe Mauer, Dustin Morno. Oh, thanks.
And Mauer and Morno both among the league leaders in batting average against lefty pitchers. 2-0. 3-0. Morno on deck. He's already single, doubled, and homered today. Span reached with a leadoff walk.
All right. Play manager here for a little while, Dick. 3-0 green light.
Mauer's so patient, I would think no. He takes a strike on the inside corner. He feels so confident up there with 2 strikes.
Yeah, he's no different.
you rarely see him swing early in the count. Morno more likely to be given the green light on 3-0. Now it's 3-1. Driven to center and down for a hit. Span checks in at second, and Maurer gets his first hit of the afternoon. 1 for 3 with a walk, and the tying run is in scoring position.
Well, you just don't hold hitters like him down. He gets a 3-1 fastball on the inside part of the plate. He just goes down and just rips it into center field, using the big part of the park again. And right back come the Minnesota Twins.
As unlikely as it might seem, Morno needing a triple, he has a chance here to become the third Twin this year to hit for the cycle. Jason Kubel and Michael Kadire earlier this year have already hit for the cycle.
And that's just a rarity. On the Tigers side of it, the last cycle they had was Carlos Guillen in 2006.
Morno out in front of the breaking pitch, strike one.
Beautifully executed there by C. The breaking ball right to the outside corner, and way out in front of it was Justin Morno.
Jackson's one-run lead hanging by an eyelash. One strike to Morno. And a fastball for strike two.
You can see right there, Dick, that Morno was looking for that breaking ball again. That time C just zipped a fastball right by him and froze him. Good pitch.
So Morno will try to hit out of an 0-2 hole with the tying run at second. High breaking ball. And then across the shoulder almost. 1 and 2.
Well, he just slipped out of his hand. He almost made a major mistake there of letting it slip and maybe hitting Morno with an 0-2 pitch.
Carlos Gomez hit for the cycle last year for the Twins. Had a long drought in cycle performances. Kirby Puckett, the last guy to do it back in '86, and now 3 in short order in less than a calendar year. 1 and 2 to Morno. And a step off.
I think a lot of times you just step off there because you're not really worried about Span stealing a base here, but a lot of times you just forget what the catcher put down for you. You forgot what pitch to throw. So this is no time for guesswork. Just step off and let's get reacclimated.
Base hit right field. Span around third, and he will score the tying run. Morno's fourth hit of the afternoon. And the Twins even it up, and Edwin Jackson will not get his first win in 4 weeks this afternoon.
Well, you talked about the difficulties that C has had with these Twins. He came in to face 2 left-handed batters, and both of them reached base. Let's see the beautiful breaking ball, and then the fastball. Then one slips, and then another breaking ball. It just stays in the middle of the zone, and Morno ties the ball game up. Boy, these two are just relentless, Maurer and Morno.
And now the third lefty in the sequence, Jason Kubel. Inside, ball one. In C's defense, when he pitched against the Twins here in the series finale back in May, situation not unlike this situation. Both the Tiger bullpen and the Twins bullpen were exhausted, and C just asked to pick up a Justin Verlander lead, but he'd pitched a couple of games prior to that and didn't have much in the series finale, and now 2-0 to Kubel.
You can see some of the rust from last night showing here. Jim Leyland making another trip out to the mound.
Jackson, who took the game into the 7th, now has seen his lead disappear.
It just looks like words of encouragement there.
Tiger fans know that most trips to the mound are made by the manager. You could get to the All-Star break and not be aware of who the Detroit pitching coach is. Most of the time, it's Jim Leland who makes the trip to the mound.
Brandon Lyon, he's ready. He's locked and loaded down in the pen, but you can see a lot of the fatigue.
There is the Tiger pitching coach, Rick Knapp, who is a longtime minor league pitching coordinator for the Twins. Kubel with a grounder right side. Cabrera with the catch. Out at second base. They just got Morno. A good play by Cabrera, who had a tough time getting a grip on the baseball.
Oh, what a super play by Cabrera. A big play. That ball looked like it was headed to right field, and it was going to give the Twins the lead. But ranging a long way to his right, the dive, and still able from his knees to get the sliding Morno. Good call there by second base umpire Laz Diaz. We're going to get a pitching change.
With a pinch runner Gomez in the game for the Twins, Jim Leland goes one man deeper into his bullpen. Right-hander Brandon Lyon coming in to face Michael Kadire, who faced Lyon last night and got a leadoff single in the 7th inning. Swing and a miss, 1 strike.
That's a cut fastball that Brandon Lyon started throwing this year. He can throw a couple more like that. That'll be all she wrote. But he's got a big curveball as well.
Gomez the pinch runner at first. And a look over. Gomez held his ground. Lyon last night, couple innings, but he only threw 21 pitches, 13 strikes, a couple of scoreless innings, giving up 3 hits. 1-1.
There's that cut fastball again. Almost looks like a slider, but it's still at 87 miles an hour.
Kadire started the scoring with his leadoff home run in the 4th. Twins have 8 hits, half of them this afternoon from Justin Morno. Kadire skies it to center field. Granderson tracks it, makes the catch, and the Twins leave 2, but score 1 to tie the game in the 7th. The Twins pen to pitch to Curtis Granderson, who takes strike 1.
And Curtis Granderson happy to see anybody but Francisco Liriano.
2 strikeouts and a little pop-up off the bat of Granderson. Swing and a miss, 2 strikes.
A big curveball to start him, and then fastball to the outside corner to jump ahead 0-2.
Guerrero, of course, pitched in last night's game 2 innings, but a total of 19 pitches, 16 strikes. And 3 strikes to start his afternoon today, 1 away. Pepsi, the official soft drink of Major League Baseball, presents the June nominees for the MLB Clutch Performer of the Month award, presented by Pepsi. Josh Beckett anchoring that Boston pitching staff. Tim Lincecum with the Giants. B.J. Upton. You can vote for the MLB Clutch Performer of the Month at PepsiClutch.mlb.com. And Guerrero drops a breaking ball on the outside corner. Nothing but strikes from Guerrero again this afternoon.
And he just stays right on the mound, waits for the hitter to get in the box, and I'm ready to throw a strike.
Denard Span now in left and Carlos Gomez in center. It gets past Morales, 1-1. Polanco 0 for 3, but he was hitless early in the game last night and ended up getting the 2 biggest hits of the game for the Tigers. to center. Gomez retreating, backpedaling, 2 away. The boot. 2 away, and that'll bring up Miguel Cabrera. Cabrera singled his first time up, since then a fly to left and a pop to second.
He's the guy in this batting order right now that if you make one mistake to him, he can hit it an awfully long way. So Cabrera going to have to be careful with this big guy.
Foul, back 1 strike. Cabrera kind of got caught up in the June swoon, if you will, for the Tiger lineup. He only drove in 10 runs in the month of June, and with other hitters around him really struggling, he kind of got sucked into the vortex almost. He just, it's hard to expect one guy to continually carry a lineup, and with Ordonez struggling and some others, eventually it caught up, it seemed, with Cabrera.
Well, hitting can be contagious, both on the good side and the bad side. And when a few guys go south, it can have they can take you right with them. Breaking ball stays bell tie for a strike.
Well, overall, the number's still very strong, all-star worthy, and if the Tigers win the division, maybe MVP worthy. You can see that slow breaking ball. Cabrera took it at the belt. 1-2. Cabrera trying to pitch a quick 8th inning. And Cabrera lifts the breaking ball into the seats down the right field line.
Some big swings here by Cabrera. He's thinking long ball. And why not? You've got 2 outs, nobody on base. Why not take a shot at it when you've got the kind of power he's got? They just challenged him with a fastball right down the middle there, and a big swing and a foul.
So 1-2. Chopper to short. Waist high hop for Harris, and a 1-2-3 8th inning for Matt Guerrero. And your now Hyundai Ashlands can even lower your price at the pump. And by Smirnoff Ice, please drink responsibly. Brian Busher will lead off the 8th inning, followed by Jose Morales and Nick Punto. First pitch driven to the gap in left center field. Cut off in the gap by Rayburn. Busher with a big turn, and he'll hold up with a leadoff single.
A really nice play there by Rayburn in left field. That looked like that was headed for the gap. Fastball just goes down and just drills it into left center field. Rayburn got over there quickly. Got it back in. Busher had to stay at first base. So the double play still in order.
So a single, not a double, and Morales at the plate. Morales singled his last time up. Matt Tolbert pinch running for Busher, and he'll likely stay in the game and play third base. Morales bunting it backwards. Strike 1.
Catchers aren't asked to bunt very often, but in this situation, Ron Gardner thinking all I need is 1. And I'll turn it over to my closer, and that's one of the best in the business in Joe Nathan. You can see Brandon Inge still thinking bunt over at third base.
Squaring early, and Morales takes a ball, 1-1. Inning, the ability or inability to put down a bunt could be the difference in a win or a loss. If the Twins take the lead, Joe Nathan is warming up. Might pitch the 9th regardless. Morales bunts it foul again, 2 strikes.
And now it's decision time for Ron Gardner. Do you keep the bunt on, or do you take it off and let him swing away?
Morales does not run well, but he hits very well. down a number of times for the Twins this year. In still expecting the bunt at third base.
He's swinging.
2-2. Ryan tried to tickle an outside corner, but he just missed.
This could easily have been called strike 3. Boy. I think right now, if you're Morales, you're thankful to be still in the box.
Looks like they got plenty of the plate. Tolbert on the season, 4 steals and 4 tries. The Twins have not attempted a stolen base yet. Tap to the right side, and it'll work exactly what they had hoped to accomplish with the bunt. Tolbert to second, 1 away. Here's a look at the in-game box score. Hyundai introducing the all-new 306 horsepower rear-wheel drive Hyundai Genesis Coupe.
You see the domination of Justin Morno, 4 for 4. One thing that's not going to show up in that box score was that productive out made right there by Jose Morales.
And now Punto has walked, singled, and struck out. Strike 1. Punto, a switch hitter. The on-deck hitter is Span, a left-handed hitter. But there's no one warming up in the Tiger bullpen. The Tigers have one more left-handed reliever, side armor Fu-Tae-Ni.
Gesundheit. From Taiwan, is that correct?
Little flare over the head of Everett. Rounding third is Tolbert. Throw to the plate. Tolbert's in with a head-first slide, and the Twins take a 4-3 lead.
Well, what a slide to get around the tag. And that productive out comes right into play when Punto gets the base hit. Little bad-handled job right off the label, but he's strong enough to get it out into left field. Rayburn with a strong throw all the way on the fly. And look at the beautiful slide there by Tolbert. Right around the tag. Good call there at home by Mike Riley. And on to second goes Nick Punto, and you think he's fired up.
Here's Denard Span. Ball 1. Span 5 hits last night, 0 for 3 with a walk today, but his walk leading off the 7th led to the tying run.
How about the aggressive base coaching there by third base coach Scott Olger?
Twins out hitting the Tigers 10-5 here this afternoon. And Punto started skittering towards third, and Everett cut behind him.
He's thinking about maybe taking third base right there. I like that by Ron Gardner. When you take the lead, keep the pedal to the metal. One thing you learn, especially after last night's game, one's not necessarily enough.
That was proven last night.
Cool.
Tigers got a run on the 14th. Twins tied it up. One and 0 to Span. Here's today's Smirnoff Ice game summary. Kadire and Morno with a pair of solo home runs, but the big blast of the game from Magglio Ordonez. After a pair of singles, Ordonez dropped one into the center field seats for a big 3-run home run that briefly gave the Tigers the lead. 1-1 to Span. And now 2-1.
Came with the cut fastball inside. That made Bernard Span move.
Big day for Morno with 4 hits. 2 run-producing hits, the home run and the game-tying RBI single in the 7th. Fu-Tei-Ni is warming up in the Detroit bullpen, but he's not warming up to face Span, obviously. Off the thigh of Cabrera, Lyon to the bag, and Punto to third base. So Cabrera didn't field it cleanly, but he knocked it down, got it out.
Well, as a first baseman, all you have to do is knock the ball down. One of the best defensive first basemen of all time played right here in Kent Herbeck. But Cabrera just knocks it down. That's all you have to do at first base. Just knock it down and hit the pitcher covering.
And now Harris, hitless in the game with a couple of strikeouts. Strike 1.
There's a cut fastball again from Brandon Lyon.
Harris having a bit of a tough series. 1 for 8 last night and 0 for 4 so far here today.
He really
That's not a bit of a tough.
No, he had a rough go with Edwin Jackson.
Tapped foul, and you had a few 1 for 12s in your time, and it seems like when you try to break out of it, you always find yourself behind 0-2.
Yeah, unfortunately, double headers were more normal back in quote unquote my day. But I remember a double header. I went 0 for 10 in the double header. Needless to say, I did not sleep very well that night.
2 strikes to Harris. A breaking ball gets Harris. The Twins take the lead on a pair of singles in the 8th. To ALS back in the early 80s. Twins with a 1-run lead, and now Joe Nathan going after the Tigers, specifically Marcus Thames. Nathan, of course, pitched last night, an inning, 21 pitches, 11 strikes. This is his 28th save opportunity against the Tigers. So far, he has been perfect. Bouncer left side. Tolbert is there. 1 away. It really is remarkable, as great as the Tigers have been over the years, a World Series team a few years ago, and Nathan is 27 for 27 in save opportunities.
That's just how good this guy is. He's got one of the better fastballs and sliders. Doesn't need much more, and he throws them to the corners. That's what makes him so difficult. Rarely puts a ball in the middle of the plate to be hit hard.
Ryan Kelly pinch hitting for the Tigers for Ryan Rayburn. At the knees, a strike. Don Kelly, the pinch hitter. And 2 quick strikes. In baseball history, only one team has one player has mastered a team beyond what Nathan has done against the Tigers. Lee Smith was 37 for 37 against the Montreal Expos. And Nathan trying to make it 28 for 28 against the Tigers.
And these Twins faithful, they're getting behind him. Good crowd here on a Saturday afternoon.
Kelly gets a piece.
He tried to elevate the fastball there and throw it by Kelly, but he left it belt high, and that's a dangerous place to pitch in the 9th inning.
Kelly 1 for 5 in the ball game last night. Two strikes. 2 away. Hyundai in-game box score for the Tigers. They have just 5 hits. The biggest one, of course, from Magglio Ordonez. Introducing the all-new 306 horsepower rear-wheel drive Hyundai Genesis Coupe. 2 down in the 9th, and here's Brandon in.
The last gasp here for the Detroit Tigers. Brandon Inge. It's just almost unfair to throw that good of a breaking ball for strike one.
You said you faced Nathan years ago.
I faced Nathan when he was a setup man for the San Francisco Giants. He set up Rob Nin. And it was and Rob Nin was one of the best, but you almost wanted to hit in the 9th instead of the 8th and not face this guy.
1-1. The first pitch outside the strike zone for Nathan, who threw his 21 pitches but just 11 strikes last night. Used just for the 1 inning because Ron Gardenhire wanted the flexibility to bring him back again in this game, should the need arise, and it has arisen.
An entertaining ball game here this afternoon, Dick.
Fouled back, 1-2. Remember, tonight on Fox, don't miss an all-new episode as part of the full hour of Cops, and join John Walsh for an all-new hour of America's Most Wanted. It all starts tonight at 8 Eastern, 7 Central, only on Fox. Viewer discretion advised. Tigers down to their last strike.
And this place is loud.
And stays alive. Imagine then the volume in here when they've had playoff and World Series games, when twice the number of people are in this enclosed space.
I can imagine.
A little over 27,000 to paid attendance here this afternoon.
I've been to a couple of Viking games here before. Boy, is that loud.
Up high, 2-2.
Tried to get him to chase the elevated fastball. Nothing doing for Brandon Inge.
Two and 2 to Inge.
What a great shot that was.
And Inge hanging tough.
Inge got his pitch there. He got a fastball in the middle of the plate. He's disappointed in himself. Smacks the barrel of the bat like, doggone it. That usually means you're going to get a breaking ball on the next pitch from Nathan. And it's usually going to be a really good one. Here it comes, the breaking ball.
Lifted toward the right field bullpen, and Morno watches it drift 6 rows back. Ordonez on deck, and he has had certainly one of his better days at the plate this year today.
And he's been the heroic one for the Detroit Tigers here this afternoon.
Inge keeping this at bat alive, trying to keep the game alive for the Tigers. Half swing, did he go? No swing, says Chuck Merriweather, and it's a full count.
And big Chuck Merriweather with an emphatic no. There was a lot of swing there. But Inge was able to check it up. Nice block there by Morales in case it was a called swing.
And this series is tied at a game apiece. Nathan now 28 for 28 against Detroit. We went 16 innings last night, or they did, and a 1-run ball game here this afternoon. And it looks as this American League Central race tight.